Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Akulon here, and welcome back to each and every one of you. Of course, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us. I am very happy to have you here. In today's video, I have some very good news for all of you, especially if you're a fan of World of Warcraft, you're a fan of Blizzard, you want to see this company succeed, and I don't get why you would play the game, but you wouldn't want the company to succeed. At the end of the day, the company and the game is very much tied together. So this was good news. When I read it for the first time, I was very happy. I got the email yesterday, had some PC issues, so couldn't actually make the video. But now that we're up and running again and everything's good again, and it is hours before the launch of Cyberpunk, at least hopefully, that's when you'll watch this video. If not, then Cyberpunk is already launched and I've already played it, but I don't know. It depends on if Alex is raiding or not. Probably is, because it is the open. Never mind. Fuck it. If you want to follow me live on Twitch, the link is in the description down below, or every Sunday right here on YouTube. And without wasting any more of your time, let's jump into the numbers and then we'll talk about why these numbers are as good as they are. So right off the bat, the previous holder of the fastest selling PC game of all time was Diablo 3 with 3.5 million copies. Shadowlands have just demolished it with 3.7 million copies sold in the first day. Now, before you go, but why the first day? This is usually how they calculate it. The reason being, you have different types of games. A single player game will not have the longevity that a multiplayer or an MMO would have, so therefore they usually take the first day's sales and then they figure out who is the top seller. And I think it goes to show that the previous holder of the record, Diablo, a Blizzard game, and now the new holder of the record, World of Warcraft Shadowlands, a Blizzard game, it just goes to show just how good this company actually is at putting out games. Now, we can all argue that some games are worse and some games are better, but at the end of the day, most games that Blizzard make is at least fun for the most part, right? With World of Warcraft, it is a bit of a seesaw, up and down thing, but I want to get into some of the more impressive numbers here. So, in the months leading up to the expansion's release, and the time since launch, the game reached and has sustained its highest number of players on monthly or longer term subscriptions compared to the same period ahead of and following any WoW expansion in the past decade. Now, currently, the speculation is that World of Warcraft is sitting between 11 and 12 million players, because if we go back to a decade. So for example, if you remember in Warlords of Draenor, Blizzard actually touted that they now had the same amount of subscribers that they had during the peak of Wrath of the Lich King. And of course, everyone very quickly realized that this expansion is pretty empty and those numbers definitely did not sustain themselves. But this means that in Wrath of the Lich King, Blizzard reached up to, I believe, 12 million players, right? That was at the launch of Wrath of the Lich King. They had around 12 million players, and then obviously it would die down because that's just the nature of gaming. Now, if Blizzard is claiming that they have the highest since or for the last decade, that means that it needs to be somewhere between 11 and 12 million players. In many cases, numbers have doubled since last year. Numbers are double what they've been for the last decade. And one of the key takeaways here, is following up to and after. Now, for those of you that say, but Akulon, the game has barely been out for 2 weeks, what are you even talking about? Well, all of that would be calculated in. So for example, if Shadowlands launched and you just had 4 million people going, I hate this game, this is such a sucky fucking game, I can't believe I paid for it, they would cancel their subscriptions, and that would obviously mean that even though the subscription is still technically active, it would no longer be an active subscription because that subscription has been cancelled, right? So I'm sure, if I remember correctly, that's how it's been explained to me. That's how they calculated it. So this is active players that is logging in, that is playing the game, and that is pretty awesome. And I think I just mixed up two different segments here. So let me just be clear. On the one hand, they told us that this is the highest sub number that they've ever had, so the highest number of accounts active following up to and after the release of the expansion. but then they also said this is the highest player engagement they've ever had in the last decade, right? So those two put together is, at least if I understand correctly, explains that this is active accounts following up to the expansion, active accounts following after the expansion, and there's been no dip in numbers. Those numbers have remained sort of solid on a straight line. People keep playing, and I can say for myself, and this is really where we get into the more speculative parts of it. Now, there's more to this article, and I will have the article for you in the description down below if you want to read it for yourself, but I specifically want to focus on why this is the case. I can tell you for myself, I've been loving this expansion. I've been logging in every single day, even when I'm not streaming. I'm playing 4, 5, 6 hours a day. I'm hanging out on Discord with the Discord whenever I'm not streaming, because I'm always playing this game. Whenever I'm not playing the game, I'm looking forward to playing the game. That's how I know that this is another amazing expansion. That's how I know that I'm probably not going to get tired of this game, because in Battle for Azeroth I couldn't even get to max level before absolutely being very tired of the game. In Legion even, I got bored. I didn't want to play Legion, and this is very early on. It was about a week into Legion where I just went, I mean, I'll still raid because I was the raider at that point, but I genuinely didn't log in unless I absolutely have to log in. This is the first time that I can tell you I'm already leveling, I believe, my 4th character right now. I've already started leveling my 4th character. I'm having a ton of fun in the game, just doing different things, and let's talk about why that is. So first and foremost, from a story perspective, as someone who covers the lore primarily on this channel, I think it's important that we do talk about the story. I think this is the first expansion ever that Blizzard, or that I can say, the vast majority of players, regardless of if they care about the story or not, will know the story of Shadowlands. The way in which Blizzard told the story, the way in which Blizzard presented the story to the vast, or to the large player base, really did sell the story. It's insane just how you go through every single zone. You're introduced to that zone, you're introduced to the Covenant, you're introduced to the problems and the problem areas within that Covenant, and you can make informed decisions after you reach max level on which Covenant you want to help. I think Blizzard did an amazing job. Now, there is some downsides to this that I just very quickly want to discuss. First and foremost, the opening more cinematic. Blizzard, if you're watching this, can we get a way to skip that? It was amazing seeing it the first time. It was kind of alright seeing it the second time. It is a drag seeing it the 4th time. It's very boring. It takes a long time. There's so much RP. Like, it would be okay if we could do that, but skip all the RP. Like, for example, in the cave, and Jaina is showing you who you're up against. It's like, lady, I've seen this. I know this. Can I skip this, please? Can I just quickly run through this so that I can get to the other side and start my adventures in the Shadowlands? So this is something that I wish we could get a skip to the entire opening cinematic or scenario. But if we can't get a skip, can we at least get a skip on the RP stuff? And then, of course, we also have to talk about, as I said, I'm a massive fan of the leveling system. I think the leveling experience was absolutely bonkers amazing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But this is where we get to the Threads of Fate argument, or the discussion of Threads of Fate, and I do think when Threads of Fate is discussed, Blizzard needs to up the XP. It takes way too long to get to max level with Threads of Fate. The world quests, or the bonus objectives, they genuinely do not give enough XP and enough completion bonus per mob killed or per thing collected. You oftentimes spend half an hour doing one world quest, and it's pretty boring because you're just killing the same things over and over again. Now, unless Blizzard comes up with some way of making it very interactive and very fun, I would say just give us a way to rush through the story. Ultimately, right now, I'm still leveling with the quest campaign because I feel like that's just quicker. But that's just a small gripe on the side of it. Let's talk about what happens when you get to max level, and why I believe that Shadowlands is undoubtedly the most successful expansion Blizzard have ever released. The numbers don't lie, but more importantly, why it might be the most successful expansion Blizzard have launched ever, and why it's going to remain one of the most successful expansions ever. Player choice. And by this, I'm not talking about the Covenants and how much choice you have in the Covenants, because as it turns out, it really doesn't matter. It's more about the story, at least for me. Power-wise, there is some classes that's getting completely shafted by some of the Covenants. So if you want to be that Covenant, bad luck. You're going to be very, very miserable and very horrible in almost every piece of content. So there's still some balancing issues that needs to be taken there. I'm talking about pure player choice. In other words, I log into the game, what do I want to do now? Turns out, whatever I want. And this has actually caught a lot of new players off guard, which is kind of interesting. Very interesting to me, at least, because it seems like a lot of players have forgotten what an actual MMO experience is like. People who didn't play during TBC or Wrath most likely forgot that this is an MMO. There isn't always something to do. The game doesn't always give you the next big thing across the hill, right? Sometimes the next big thing across the hill needs to be discovered. You need to go do it. You need to go find it. So this is one of the things that I love about this expansion more than any previous expansion, at least for the last decade, if I can quote what Blizzard said in their own press release. I log in. I have a couple of things that I have to do every single week, and once I'm done with those, I can do whatever. So I've been leveling my alts because I want to start doing dungeons on my alts. I've been doing all of the dungeons on my main, and once I had all of the mythics finished for Akulon, and Akulon had all of the dungeons finished, and I couldn't get any more gear from heroic dungeons, this is where I said, all right, time to log on to an alt and start leveling the alt, because I do want to do those things on the alt. Now, a lot of people have started to complain. There's not enough to do. I don't know what to do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where, what do you want to do? Do you want to do dungeons? Then level another character and experience the game through that new character. Do you want to do PvP? Then jump into the battlegrounds and go do battlegrounds. An MMO is not supposed to always have the next thing lined up. It's supposed to be you creating your own fun. Maybe you'll look for a guild that you can join. By the way, I think this might be one of the things that World of Warcraft have been missing in the community aspect. For the first time ever, I'm logging into my Discord, hanging out in the chat channel, because I have people that I want to chat to while I do other things in the game. Maybe I want to find a group on my Discord to quickly do a dungeon with. So I haven't yet succumbed to the need or the passion or the drive to find myself a guild, but I've definitely found myself wanting other people to chat to while I'm doing the fun things that I want to do in the game. And that really is the point of an MMO. So for those of you that is complaining that there's not enough to do, that's the point. You're supposed to find other things to do. You're supposed to find friends. You're supposed to level another character. And I find that that's perfect for World of Warcraft. I think the dungeons have been absolutely amazing. I think the mythic dungeons have been absolutely just gorgeous, and I love the way it works. I love the way the gear works. Finally, no Titan Forging, Wall Forging. I know what I want, and I'm gonna go get it. I do want to say I have a personal little gripe with the conduits, because I get no conduits for Affliction, which really is just balls. I fucking despise it. I'm not getting the good conduits. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I also don't have a legendary yet, which I will be working towards, but I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna level my own legendary stuff, and then I'm gonna build a legendary, you know? That's sort of what I'm aiming for. That's sort of what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, from where I sit, the game is absolutely perfect. I don't want it any other way. I think if at this point you find yourself not having things to do, it's because you've grown accustomed to Blizzard telling you what to do next. Just let your mind wander, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine the world is open before you. Just step into it and go do something fun. Go level an alt. Go do something better. Go do some achievements, if you will. I just finished Shadowlands Lawmaster. Had a blast doing it as well. The story is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, by all means, jump into the game. And if you haven't bought it yet, you absolutely have to. Because Shadowlands, World of Warcraft Shadowlands is by far the greatest expansion, at least for me, in recent memory. But of course, I do want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. So let me know. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and smash that bell if you enjoy the content that I put out. To all of the patrons, the Twitch subs, and of course the YouTube channel members, thank you so much for your monthly contributions. It does mean the world to me. Remember, if you want early access to all of my content, follow me on Patreon or on YouTube. That's where I release all of the videos so that you can see it before everyone else. Ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, fam.